check this video out. I want you guys to pay attention as he explains to you exactly how you were pushed into believing you are your straw man rather than the person that you truly are, okay? Just watch the business terminology that he uses, okay? It's a very informative video, man, and this is a must watch. Let's get into it.
Hey guys, Ben Barlow, Your Rights, Your Life. Hey, I want to touch base with you on how they trapped us into Admiralty Maritime Law. So let's work through this. In 1932, they turned every hospital into a foundling hospital. A foundling hospital is a location which now includes police departments, fire departments, CPS, Department of Family Services. They turn them all into foundling locations. A foundling location is where you can go, anyone can go up and drop their kids off with no retribution against them without breaking the law and just give up their kids. So every hospital got turned into a foundling hospital in 1932. In 1933, they created the birth certificate process. In that birth certificate process, it turned you from you were born as a sovereign, like our founding fathers fought for their independence to become sovereign instead of citizens. The 1933 birth certificate process turned you back into a citizen, and this whole entire time that we've been through the school system, what I call the public indoctrination centers, they've indoctrinated us into thinking that citizenship is the next best thing to apple pie and baseball, and we should be so proud of our citizenship. But what they didn't tell you is that it was a yoke around your neck. It trapped you under Admiralty Maritime Law, and I'm going to go into a multiple part series to help you understand what they did and how they did it. This is just the first part. Citizenship is a yoke around your neck. Citizenship, what that stands for, city is municipal, zen is servant. So as a citizen, you are a municipal servant to the state being government.
Right. And how do we serve them? We're more so like a product that serves the purpose of paying off their debt, okay, to other foreign countries.
The federal government. You are a federal United States citizen. So now I want you to think about something, because this is what it comes down to. Washington, D.C. is where the federal government's at. Washington, D.C. is not a part of the United States. Washington, D.C. is a territory. It's not even owned by the United States. It's owned by the corporation that runs the United States of America, that holds its allegiance and loyalty to the Vatican and to the crown. It's not our government. It's their government. So being a citizen, you are...
which for me, it's not hard to see. Whenever the Vatican, whenever the Pope comes over, or whenever the Queen would come over, you would see they would basically shut the world down. Everything would stop moving around that time. So
are a citizen that is loyal to the crown and the Vatican. Let that sink in for a minute, because you got to understand what that means. You are a United States citizen, which is a federal citizen. You don't even live where you think you live. You reside where you're at. You actually are living in Washington, D.C., and all your records are located in Washington, D.C. in the library. So think about that. You are here to incur debt. Hey guys, Ben Barlow, Your Rights, Your Life. This is part 2 of how they trapped us into Admiralty Maritime Law. I want you to consider everything as a shipping war in commerce. And they've trapped us into Admiralty Maritime Law, which is commerce and contracts. So think of all of us as vessels, ships. And so as a vessel, your mother, being pregnant, had to go to the hospital. It's not a hospital. I want you to consider it a port. She's going to the hospital. In it being a port has to have a dock tender. Well, the doctor is the dock tender. The only one that is considered a doctor is the one that receives babies. All others are considered physicians and specialists. So your mother pulls up to the hospital, pulls up to the port to birth her ship,— As she births her ship, the child is tugged through the birth canal, as in a tugboat by the doctor, tugged through the birth canal, received by the dock tender as a cargo. The nurses come up to the mother. They have a handful of papers for the mother to sign. They are creating what's called a bill of lading. That is.
Listen to what he said. He say a bill of lading. For any of you who ever worked in warehouses or anything, you know, if you ever drove a fork truck or whatever the case may be, then you know what a bill of lading is. It's a piece of paper that describes the product that is being either shipped or that's coming in, okay? So basically what he's saying, when you or your mother, because she carries you in the water inside of her womb, she pulls up to the dock, which is the doctor, right? And then she gives birth to the product. And when they fill out these paperwork that you think is the birth certificate, it's actually a bill of lading that is describing the product that is being pulled out of the canal, which would be the womb. It's crazy.
The cargo needs a bill of lading so that they can determine what the cargo is. The mother is now signing as an informant to the cargo that is delivered. An informant, just like let's say an informant that would inform the police about a drug dealer. The same thing plays in here. Your mother is informing on you to return you to the possession of the United States. So as she informs on you, the doctor has now received you as the dock tender. He signs right below her. She is the informant. He is the doctor. And then who comes in behind them is a registrar. The registrar signs underneath the doctors. You can look at your birth certificates. It's all on there. And then what happens as he is registering the cargo, that it was received, that it is live. So what happens next is they take the placenta and the soul plates. The child has their feet stamped onto the live certificate of birth, but it's not soul plates as in S-O-L-E, what you and I would think it is. It's S-O-U-L, the actual soul, the spirit. The soul plates and the placenta is then cast out to sea as if dead until it returns to claim its minor estate. We're going to go into part 3 in a minute.
Now, what I want you to understand about what he just said is that, okay, this is why whenever you go into a courthouse, you have to have an attorney speak for you, because you're considered to be a dead man, okay? And for that same reason, he's giving you the analogy of why, okay? Because they took your placenta, they threw it out to sea, and you no longer exist, okay? Only thing that is going to exist is the stick man that they've set in your place. This is why you can't speak in the court, because you're considered a dead man. And this is also why a lawyer has to pass the bar exam. Y'all better wake up, man. Wake up.
See you soon. Hey guys, Ben Barlow, Your Right, Your Life. This is part 3 as to how they trapped us into Admiralty Maritime Law. So we already know that the baby was born. It was the placenta, the blood of the placenta, and the soul plates, S-O-U-L, as in the spirit, the soul, was cast out to sea as dead until it returns to claim its minor estate. This is how they trapped us through that contract that your mother signed. You are the cargo was received, and now you went from sovereign to citizen, because as soon as what happened is they sent that bill of lading out, then in return, when you received the birth certificate, you'll notice that there was a stamp date on that birth certificate. So on the birth certificate was your mother's name, your father's name, the time that you were born, the name, your family given name. My name is Ben Thomas Barlow, so my family name is Ben. My given name is Ben, my family name is Thomas, my last name is Barlow. And when you got that birth certificate back, it had a stamp date. What you've got to understand is that stamp date was when they turned you into a citizen, and the citizen is just a corporation entity that they created in your all caps name. So as you look at your mail, when you get junk mail, it's upper and lowercase. When you get anything that has to do anything with money, billing, The judicial system, anything in the court comes to you in your all caps name. That is the vessel or the corporation, the entity that they created. That entity is not you. It's the fictitious you that they are coming after that is trapped under Admiralty Maritime Law. Because keep in mind, in the judicial system, a corporation cannot sue a man, and a man cannot sue a corporation. They have to be of like kind, corporation to corporation or man to man. Man being mankind has nothing to do with gender. So by taking us out of the status of sovereign man or woman and turning us into little entity corporations, this is how these corporations can come after us, trap us in billing cycles, all kinds of other stuff. This is how the court system comes after us. They're coming after our entity and the trust that you guys don't know about yet that I'll go into in a part 4. The trust that is in our name, that you can find out exactly how much money is in your trust. Everyone has their own individual trust. It's called the Sesta QV Trust. And it is actually bought and sold on the stock market every single day. Every single person has their own individual Sesta QV Trust. Every participating United Nations has. Hey guys, Ben Barlow with Your Rights, Your Life. This is part 4 of how they trapped us into Admiralty Maritime Law. In the last video, I talked about Sesta QV Trust. What you have to understand is your birth certificate is tied to the Sesta QV Trust. How they've done that is they've turned you into a little mini corporation. They started up a Sesta QV Trust. The International Monetary Fund pledged money to the Sesta QV Trust. And how that works is from everybody born from 1933 to 1974, the International Monetary Fund pledged $650,000 per birth certificate backed up by $1 million insurance policy. Everybody from 1975 to current, that amount went up. They pledged $1 million backed up by a $2 million insurance policy. So what that means is from the time you're born to the time you die, that pledged money, once you die, they make the insurance amount, $1 million or $2 million, goes back to the International Monetary Fund, and all the interest that was made on that money from the time you were born to the time you died. So you can imagine that's a ton of money. If you live 80 some odd years, they're making interest on all that money. The other thing that you have to understand is all the Sesta QV trusts are treasury bonds. They are tied to the district or the circuit courts. The 9th Circuit Court, California, Oregon, and Washington. 10th Circuit Court is Arizona, Utah, Idaho, Wyoming, Montana, and so on and so forth as they keep moving out east. Those district courts, because if you look at all the buildings back east, the old buildings, the post office, the courthouse were all the same buildings. A post office is a bank. If you look up in Black's Law Dictionary, a court, it says C bank. A judge, it says C banker. A court clerk is C bank teller. And so on and so forth. So you guys, now you understand how this court system works. It's just a big bank. The judge is the trustee. He's the one who is presiding over these court cases so that they can attach your trust in these federal courthouses. What you also have to know is federal courthouses are also buying cases from state courthouses so that they can try them in federal court and go after your Sesta QV Trust. Guys, it's all a big scam. That's why our money is not backed by gold anymore. Our money is actually backed by our birth certificates, and every participating United Nations nation, it's their birth certificates in that nation that is backing their money. So what you have to know is this is why they confiscated all the gold, because you and I became the banks, not the banks. The banks are just facilitating. So we'll talk about more in 5. Hey guys, Ben Barlow with Your Rights, Your Life. This is part 5 of how they trapped us into Admiralty Maritime Law. What you have to understand is the Founding Fathers gave us a republic under common law. Common law is the law of man, law of God. And so what you have to understand is through the birth certificate process, they turned us into little mini corporations without any benefits of the corporations and took us away from being man which is for mankind. It doesn't have to do with gender, it has to do with mankind, which covers men, women, children. So what you have to know is the Bar Association is who has also trapped our country. All of our judicial system is under the Bar Association. And what the Bar Association has done has trapped us into Article 1 courts. Article 1 courts are for corporations. It's under Commerce and Contracts, which is Admiralty Maritime Law. Article 3 courts are common law courts, which is where mankind should be tried in, where if there is no victim, there is no crime. It doesn't mean you don't have to make somebody whole, but what it means is you're not held to legal, you are held to lawful. What's lawful is not legal, and what's legal is not lawful, because what's legal is for corporations, contracts, and commerce, and what's lawful is for mankind. We get held to a different account, but these judges keep us trapped into these Article 1 courts so that you cannot get away from some corporation from suing you because they turned you into a little mini corporation. Because remember, corporation can only sue a corporation. A corporation cannot sue a man, and a man cannot sue a corporation. They have to be of like kind. So through the judicial system, they turned us into little mini corporations through the birth certificate process. We should be going through court in an Article 3 court, which is a common law court. If you even talk to your attorneys about that, they're like, oh, we can't do that. That'll piss the judge off. The reason why it pisses the judge off is because the judge holds no jurisdiction over you in a common law court, an Article 3 court. In a corporate court, an Article 1 court, the judge is judge, jury, and executioner, and he is the one determining the fate of the case. But yet, if you're in a common law court, you have your sovereign status, you have your trust taken care of. You are not poor, pauper, or insane. You have actual physical money, not fiat currency. You now are what's called sovereign man, capable of handling your affairs, and the judge does not become the trustee over your estate. You are the trustee over your estate. So that's part 5, guys. We'll go into more stuff later. Have a great day.
Man, look, I want you guys to understand that everything that he just said right now, it all goes back to the spell of sleep that was cast over us. And a part of that spell of sleep was all about wordplay. They took our ability to understand what words mean away from us. Okay? And whether you want to believe it or not, they all know about it, especially the ones who are deep into the judicial system. The judges, majority of your lawyers, they know it's nothing more than a game, and it's a financial game because this society is based on financial stability. It's a monetary society, all right? And so with that being said, man, I really hope you learned something from this content, man. I just want to leave you guys as I can. I want you guys to always be aware, because to be aware is to be alive. And as always, peace, family. Peace meaning positive energy always creates elevation. Ashay.